What if Justin fell for Luna and tried to chase after her affection and love? Let's see what would happen in this alternate storyline on this episode of What If? And oh boy, this one is a wild one, so you better buckle up. Firstly, of course, we need to say that this isn't possible because Luna is into girls. However, we have neglected some of these aspects in previous What If episodes in order to see what type of storyline would occur. Not that it would actually happen, just for the sake of it, just to see whether anything interesting would come out. We know that Luna is into girls. She has only had one romantic interaction with a boy, and this is when she fell on top of Diego in one of the previous episodes of In Your Arms Season 1. Now, why did we do this? As writers, we wanted the Luna coming out part by confessing her love for Layla to be a surprise, to be unexpected. She was supposed to be the best friend of Layla, who was always next to her, who was always supportive, and then bam, surprise, she comes out, confesses her love for Layla, says that she has a crush on her, and just overall pours all of her feelings out. So this is why we created this little romantic gesture between Luna and Diego, to kind of fool the viewer more and make them even more surprised when she actually decides to reveal her sexuality. So, for the sake of this What If episode, let's say that Luna remains into girls. What would happen if Justin starts to fall for her? Well, as you guys know, Luna and Justin have one point in common which really sparks the light in their friendship. This is on the prom. It's in one of the last two episodes of In Your Arms Season 1 when they both see that Layla has made her choice, she has decided to be with David, and they both are rejected. They go inside the prom and they see that there is something they have in common: rejection from Layla. However, they overcome their bad emotions and reach the conclusion that they're happiest when Layla is happy herself. So, we have two pretty selfless people here, and this is where they instantly connect. They start talking a lot, and in season 2 we see their friendship getting very, very strong. Now, as you know, in previous What If episodes, we have examined what would have happened if the second season is different. Now, this isn't something very major that could happen in the storyline, so I personally don't think that the second season will have to be different from the one we already know. On the contrary, actually, the second season, as we know it today, is where their friendship, I should say, strengthens and they become the bestest of friends. So it would be only natural if we keep that in this alternate storyline. Now, as you guys know, I'm not sure whether you have been in such a situation, but at times, when people get very close, they start being friends and spending a lot of time around each other, especially if it's very sudden, as we see with Layla and Justin. What could happen? Well, one side could develop feelings. We know it can't be Luna due to her sexuality, so all we have left is Justin. Now, Justin is a very sensible person, and considering the fact that he knows that Luna is lesbian, he would most likely back off. However, sometimes people cannot control their feelings, and he can't help but fall for Luna, for his best friend. So it would be only natural if he at least tries to confess her feelings, even if he is hopeless about any sort of romantic outcome. Now, how would Justin confess his love? We have a few very suitable scenes in Season 2 that could possibly be the time of the plotline where he confesses his feelings. We have them dancing together in the rain, we have them bonding, it's all in episode 5 when the whole story starts crashing down, and the only thing that is contrasting is their friendship, which seems to go up and up on the scale of happiness. So, what do we have here? We have a few possibly romantic moments. They were pure friendly moments in the series itself. However, I think that it would be cool if we have another moment which isn't featured in season 2 already, that Justin uses to share his feelings about Luna with Luna. Duh. I think that the previous quote-unquote romantic opportunities he would use just as stuff, as events that could get him closer to his crush. So, how would Justin confess it? I imagine he says that he needs to talk to Luna about something. And we have two possible outcomes about Luna's reaction here. She's either completely clueless about what Justin wants to talk to her about, or she does catch on to what's happening, she does start to have an idea. So, which one of the two would it be? To be honest, I'm not quite certain. We have seen Luna be a tad oblivious a few times, however in Season 2 she seems to know directly what she wants. So as we saw with how she made moves towards Ruby. So I think that she would catch on to what's happening. Of course she would go with Justin, and I imagine him starting to share his feelings, and then she would interrupt him and say that she knows what he is about to say, and then go in a long conversation about how she truly values their friendship and she would love for them to stay friends. However, she doesn't see them in any romantic relationship. We know Luna is a very sensitive person, also a very sensible one, so she would do her best not to hurt Justin, because after all, he is her best friend. She always shares everything with him, and as we saw in Season 2, there is a gradual shift from Layla and Luna as a friendship to Layla and Kai. They had a relationship and a friendship, they had a very strong connection in Season 2, and on the other side, Luna changing her entourage a bit, which would consist in Ruby, of course, because she starts having feelings for her and making moves on her, and who? Justin, that's right. So she would do her best to preserve their relationship, their friendship, I mean by that. Now, here, actually, this is not the end of the story. He gets rejected. We haven't seen a possible outcome like that before in the What If episodes. So what would happen after Justin gets rejected? Would he become angry at Luna? Would he have a new love interest? Well, this is very interesting. The first thing we have to consider is that Sophie is a part of the storyline as well. You know, the blonde island girl who he falls for and ends up being in a relationship with. I imagine that the following happens. We have the season divided in two parts in terms of how the story is structured. We have the first part, which is the part about rejection, and the second part, which is the part about resilience, redemption, and building a new relationship. The first part, Justin confesses to Luna, Luna rejects him, and they kind of go with their friendship. Then the second part, we get these two separate characters, Justin and Luna, and see each one of them have growth towards building a stable relationship. On Luna's side, we have her building a relationship with Ruby. On Justin's side, we have a connection forming between him and Sophie. As we know, in Season 2, the stuff between Justin and Sophie started happening in the second half of the season, so it's only natural that this plays out as I just described it. And what would happen once they get back home? And, you know, they leave their girlfriends behind, because that's what happens. And that's like the whole idea of In Your Arms Season 2. Well, they would be each other's moral support, of course. They're best friends. And considering the fact that Justin had feelings for Luna and then overcame his feelings and fell for Sophie, and so did Luna, who fell for Ruby, on the other hand, I think that this would be something that only strengthened their relationship, made it even better and more resilient. I really like this storyline. It's a very positive one. It focuses about how once you fall, you must get up because life continues, and something that may seem gradual to you actually could be very funny when you look at it from another point of view. Thank you for listening to this storyline, and Mystery Lies is coming out very soon. Oh my god, expect an announcement next week. That's it from me, Thainmer, and this What If episode. Thank you for devoting the time to watch it. Love ya. Mwah. Bye.